So today I'm here with Meakin of Midnight City, Avalanche, and Life of a Hero. How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm great, as good as I can be,
Good.
in lockdown and everything.
I know it's very strange times and very odd at the moment, and nobody really knows what's going on. Rumors, saying that we're coming out of July, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, very very odd times, Georgia.
So I know currently you're working on quite a few projects, but let's start from the center of things with Midnight City and sort of break it down from there onwards. So your latest single that's out at the minute is Atomic, which was released back at the start of the month. Out of the two releases so far with Midnight City, Atomic and Crawling in the Dirt, this is definitely my favorite. I waited to actually listen to it with my dad because he's fans, and we thought it had Def Leppard influences to it, and it had that very 80s sound, especially with the guitar riffs. It was really really groovy. Who were your influences at the time? Did it impact the way this song came out?
I've got to admit, hats off to Rob, because when he first recorded the he records the demos basically for us to listen to and then work on ideas. He's great songwriter, great cool guy, and I was really really surprised with the main guitar riff for Atomic, because it's interesting they say Def Leppard. I mean, obviously with Midnight City, Def Leppard are a huge inspiration. Definitely one of the big guys. We look up to them, and Danger, of course. But Atomic, for me, it reminded me a lot actually of the band Extreme.
Yeah.
Get the funk out. And it was cool though, because then when I was recording my rhythm guitar parts for that song, I couldn't help but it just reminded me of the Porno Graffiti Extreme album. I couldn't help. So then I tried to do a bit of Nuno Betancourt, inspired guitar playing for the song. But of course, with it being Midnight City, there'll always be Def Leppard, influence in there. Of course,
yeah.
They're the best.
Okay, so there were also some dates for the Itch Can't Scratch tour released not too long ago. With COVID restrictions starting to be lifted very slowly, the earliest concert venues can open are the 17th of May, I believe. These are with restrictions in place, so a capacity on the amount of people that are actually in the venue, and with social distancing. And eventually the 21st of June, which is also the earliest, that venues will be able to open up with having no social distancing at all and being able to fill out a whole venue. From your perspective, being in the actual music industry itself and having these dates booked, what do you think the probability is that it's going to happen?
At this moment in time, who knows? I mean, they're saying on the news that apparently England's going to come out of lockdown, end of July, hopefully. But then the problem is that with some of these protests that have been happening recently, who knows? It's hard to. It's hard to tell at this moment in time, George. I hope we do come out of lockdown, and I'd love it if we start doing shows again, and obviously seeing yourself and all the rest of the fans and our friends and everyone, be awesome. But at this moment in time, who knows? But hopefully, we come out of lockdown. Hopefully.
I mean, I hope it, definitely goes ahead. It's sort of the one thing that's keeping me going, being able to get back to gigs and just get out there to see people. But following on from this, do you think that after COVID has cleared off and we can go back to normal life, do you think that gigs will also go back to normal, or will people be too scared to go? Because I know that Midnight City as a band, you're all like very down with the fans. So after your shows, the first thing you do is come out and meet everyone and, give them thanks for coming to the show, hugs everything. Do you think that you'll be able to carry on the same way they did before, or will there be some sort of boundaries put in place to protect yourselves from you know what I mean?
Yeah, understand completely. Who knows? Once again, George, at this moment in time, I think like for maybe like a first few months, maybe there will be like restrictions, maybe letting like certain number of people into venues, maybe obviously if I mean, talking to the fans, yeah, we love talking to the fans. We love hanging out with with the fans. And obviously after shows, we always like love talking to people. But at this moment in time, who knows? It's so hard to tell at this moment in time, George. It's just really difficult to tell. But hopefully, things will get back to normal.
So let's discuss the new album, An Itch You Can't Scratch. The release date for this is the 28th of May, which is nearly 2 months away. Are you excited for the fans to hear the full album?
Sorry, repeat that last bit again. Sorry, Georgia.
Oh, sorry. I'll just read the question. So let's discuss the new album a bit. So An Itch You Can't Scratch is released on the 28th of May, which is nearly 2 months away now. Are you excited for the fans to hear this album?
You're very, very excited for the fans to listen. I think for the fans to hear this, it still sounds like us. It still sounds like Midnight City. It's more heavier, definitely more heavier than the first two albums. Yeah, I really cannot wait for the fans to hear this, and for the fans to hear all the rest of the other songs, and going to be very intrigued with the feedback. I think it's a really, really cool direction that that we've gone a bit more heavier, a bit more attitude. Yeah, and obviously with the music videos at the moment, we've really upped our game on the music videos as well. If that's because mainly of Sean's like helping out loads direct with like music video direction, so he's doing a killer job of it. So yeah.
So what song are you most proud of the album?
I probably would go with Atomic, just because there was like quite a few guitar parts to that song. I was really, really happy with how everything sounded, and just when we were like discussing like additional like ideas for the song. So the little breakdown section before my main guitar solo, where myself and Josh Tabby Williams and Sean Charvette, we all each do like a little lead line, basically, like a fast lead line. Like we do all three of us take it in turns. Like I asked if we could do something like do some kind of like, I don't know, like metal breakdown basically, and and Rob liked the idea and it was used, and it was really, really cool of him to use that in the song. And yeah, it was just I think it's like a pretty difficult solo to that I did, and I'm really, really happy with myself. Pete in the studio, because for that song around the time I had to actually go down to Pete's recording studio, and Pete, great guy, really, really cool guy, but he works too hard, but he's great. He's really, really good at like unlocking potential in like in a musician. He's like, oh, come on, Miles, do this bit, do like a really, really fast bit, and it's like, oh man, I don't know if I'll be able to, like, come on, you can do this. And he really, really pushes you. He's great friend and great guy to work with. He's awesome.
So a while back, I recall Rob saying that the new album is sort of the edgier side of Midnight City, and as you covered, like the heavier side. I know that the word like edgy can have like a different connotation to people and a meaning. So when I hear the word edgy, personally, I think emo. I don't know why, but it's just what I think when I hear the word edgy. So like I can imagine Midnight City, like the hair's dyed black and all these emo fringes.
well, that's not a bad comparison, but yeah.
So how would you describe it?
Okay, so
yeah.
Apologies, so when I say edgy, for example, let's say, so if we're talking like 80s like hair metal bands, okay, so you got bands like Nelson, okay, the Nelson twins, the guys with the long blonde hair, listen to their music, and then listen to Def Leppard, and they're both, a lot of their songs are very like romantic, very lovey-dovey, but then you got bands like Motley Crue and Skid Row, where they're just like pure, way more heavier and just got this real like badass kind of like look to them, that's what I kind of mean by edgier. So when I say edgier, just generally more heavier, meaner looking,
yeah. So a very important question that I need to ask. So last year in our interview, me and Sean had a wonderful discussion. I think you know what's coming. About what cookie then biscuit, their go-to neighborhood would be. So you're releasing your third album in 2 months, and I think you know where this is going now. If an itch you can't scratch was a biscuit, what would it be?
Do the in supermarkets how you got like the big double chocolate chip cookies?
Yeah.
Like like in like the cake section. That's exactly what it would be. It's just more of everything, dark, and just I know, really, really tasty. Way more tasty. I don't even know what we said for the first 2 albums. Like something like, I don't know, Bourbon creams or
it was, I've
custard
got it
creams
right
or
here.
Bourbons.
It was a Marks and Spencer's chocolate chip cookie. So you've upgraded.
Oh God, jeez. Oh, that made me laugh. Jeez. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, Marks and Spencer's. Yeah, so basically just one of those, but bigger. There we go.
So I was looking over at the merch the other day that is being released for the album, and I realised there's actually quite a variety going over on the Roulette Media website. I was actually drawn to the slip mat for a record player, and I personally found this kind of like not weird, but I don't know. I was like, "Whoa, that's pretty cool, different, exactly." Why like the slip mat as a choice of merch?
I think with the whole slip mat thing, I think it's quite cool to have like something. Say if you've got like a favorite band, you've got like your favorite set of turntables, whatever. But if you've got like a band themed like slip mat on like one of your favorite set of turntables, it's quite cool. So I thought it was a cool idea of like Roulette Media to like release like the whole like like a Midnight City themed slip mat. I really, really dig it. Plus also I think slip mats are also used for that helps like protect underneath vinyls for if you're doing like the whole like MC and I mean like actual like MC scratching, not MC as in Midnight City, but MC as in like
yeah.
So yeah, there we go. Yeah.
So this is also your first album release, I believe, with Roulette Media. How has it been like working with them so far? Because I see there's a lot of promoting going on, obviously different merch that's being posted, a lot of bundles, for the new album, and it's been really, really hyped up, So how is it working with them?
Well, I think that you've basically said it all, Georgia. Pretty much, they really pushed you, and they've done they're a great label to work with. The guys obviously, it was their ideas of doing all these like the Midnight Army challenges that Rob sorts out on the Midnight Army page. So yeah, they come up with these like interesting like ideas and prizes for like fans to win, and I think it's good in a way because then it attracts more people to like join in. And some of the prizes have been like great. The other day there was a American woman won a prize to like have a band conversation with all of us, and she was awesome. She was great. She was absolutely fantastic. Really, really nice person. Really, really cool. And yeah, it's great for us to like speak to the fans as well regarding these like competitions. So yeah, they're a great record label to work with.
And through the Midnight Army reward scheme, like a lot of the set targets are like sharing posts, inviting people to the Facebook group, commenting on posts, videos, all of these kind of things. Have you found that you've been able to reach more fans? I mean, reach more people and gain new fans through this?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I've noticed a pretty big increase in followers and fans, and yeah, it's just so it's really, really cool to see, and it's just so awesome.
I also know you're very like interactive with your fans, and as you mentioned, like with the call with the lady from America, have you found that you've been able to interact with the fans like even more? Obviously, with the circumstances being locked down, that you've been able to talk to people more through that.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, obviously with like friends and fans, they send me a message. I've always try my hardest to like get back to them, of course. It's just a case. Everyone in the band, well, everybody has their own lives. We're always busy in our own lives, but talk to the fans. We've always got time for the fans. It might be a couple of days late, replying back to whoever sends the message, but we always make sure that we get the job done, and we love talking to the fans.
Okay, so moving on from Midnight City, to Life of a Hero, which is one of the other bands you're involved in. I actually found that when I was doing my research, I personally couldn't find a great deal, so I had to ask you like a few bits and bobs behind the scene. You said that the debut album for Life of a Hero is complete, and now you're scheduling a release date. What can you actually tell us about this album?
So the album itself, it's very, very modern, very it's a lot more, because with Midnight City, that's just pure 80s hard rock, but with Life of a Hero, it's a very modern rock band. There's still like 80s hard rock influences in sections, but it's more like, I don't know, like probably more like biker rock a little bit, but it's a way more modern, but it's got that little bit of southern rock, little small bit of southern rock involved. But yeah, so the album's complete, and we're just planning a schedule for the release of the album.
So the lineup consists of Russ Grimmett on vocals, you and Alex Nash on guitar, Josh Tabby Williams on bass, and Pete Newdeck on drums. Obviously, looking at the lineup, you've got Josh and Pete, who are your brothers, from Midnight City, with you in this band. So first of all, like, how did the band come together? And, with Pete and Josh being in the band, how, were you involved?
So we know Russ. So Russ and Pete are, have been really, really good friends for quite a few years. And Russ, he really wanted to write an album, and basically form a band. And Russ has been he's a big fan of my guitar playing. So he asked me, do you want to help him out, like write an album? I was like, of course, and Russ is he's a great guy, a cool guy. Also he's the Russ is the son of Stephen Grimmett, who is the lead singer for the band Grim Reaper. So obviously I knew of like Russ's Russ's dad's works before, but then obviously Russ being a great singer, and he does the role of John Bon Jovi in a Bon Jovi tribute band called Non Jovi. And so he asked me if I wanted to like help him like write an album, and because he's good friends with Pete, he was going to ask Pete to originally just produce the album, but no, but like he actually asked Pete to like do the drums for it, and he asked Josh to get in on bass, and then Alex Nash, terrifying guitar player, amazing, such very very cool guy, very humble, down to earth, great guy, but frighteningly good, amazing guitar player. Was it he got involved because we felt like we needed like 2 guitar players in the band, and Pete got Alex in. Well, he recommended Alex to Russ. Said, well, I know this guy, and I've met Alex before. In fact, Alex opened up for Midnight City and Vega when we played in London. When Midnight City and Vega, when we did that tour together, he opened up for us when we played in London. And I think there's Josh and obviously Josh Tabby Williams, our bass player, Russ, because Josh is such like a well-known session bass player.
Yeah.
He's always willing to give whatever genre of like metal or rock or just anything really a try. Russ asked him if he wanted to do bass for it, and obviously because and when Russ told me that like Pete and Josh were involved, I just thought, I can't turn this down, no chance, they're my brothers, they're my friends, so, and it was just great, really, really great fun, just like working really close with Russ, just like writing this album, and it's just an absolute blast. And then all the other band members as well, like helped out with ideas, and he was just absolutely fantastic. It was just such a blast.
Is this a band that you'd like to take to the stage, or is it more of just a studio band?
Hopefully we would like to take this band to the stage. Obviously at this moment in time with everything, who knows what's happening? Who knows? We're all busy, we're all busy guys. Pete's really busy with production. Myself and Josh will be really busy, with like Midnight City. And then Russ as well. He actually has his own radio show called Rock Show with Russ on Rocking Fox Radio. So he's busy doing that as well. So, but hopefully, we would love to hopefully be a get this band off the ground, like playing on stages. So it'd be really, really cool.
So 3 days ago, Power Up, a song you've been writing with Harry Scott Elliott of Caned, has been released, and I was listening to it earlier, and I'd listened to it a few days ago, and I'm just loving the instrumentals, and like the way the song is like so rhythmic. I just love it. What has the reception been from this release? Have you heard good feedback from it?
You know what, it's really interesting actually, because like I was actually really scared and a little bit worried when like writing the song, because I thought, so growing up as a teenager, I loved instrumental guitar players. Yngwie Malmsteen, Joe Satriani, Steve Vai, all those guys. Obviously a lot of their music is all like instrumental, mainly. It's just instrumental, crazy guitar playing. But all the feedback has just been all positive. It's been fantastic. I had to get off my phone the other day because it was just bombarded with messages, just like from friends and family and fans, just like saying, Miles, this new song, it's great, it's fantastic. And which, by the way, thank you so much to everybody who's watching and who has like purchased the song. Thank you guys so much. Really, really shocked by the positive feedback. It's been awesome.
So what musicians influenced you particularly in this song? Because I know that you mentioned it's for fans, it's for people who are like fans of the 80s, AOR, and like video game music. So from that, like, who are some of your influences?
As in influences towards the song?
Yeah.
Influence towards the song, okay. So as a teenager, I always loved the band like Iron Maiden. I loved Iron Maiden, and I guess as well Judas Priest, and then I got into Yngwie Malmsteen as well. But obviously, the link with all these bands, they all do this kind of like power, this power metal, like the whole like battle metal kind of, kind of theme going on. So I just want to like try out like a song like that, but it's still having vocals, do it with just guitars instead. And that's basically the main, like they're like the three main like influences. And with the whole like video game thing, you play certain like, I don't know, like Japanese video games, like the RPG genre, like Final Fantasy and even Pokemon to some degree, where when you go into battle, there's always going to be there's always going to be guaranteed there's going to be some like kick-ass music, so I wanted to give like a little bit of a nod to that kind of like feeling, basically. What kind of music I would really suit like two opponents, like duking it out, so there we go.
I was looking over the instruments within the song and who did what, and I noticed that next to keys, I saw your name.
Yeah.
I'm quite intrigued because I didn't know, like, that you like. Yeah, I didn't know you could play keys. So, like, for me, I was like, wow.
Yeah. I did. I took my grade. Was it grade 4? I think it was grade 4 in piano at the age of 15, basically.
Wow.
Yeah. So if I tell you something, it's obviously playing guitar is a hell of a lot of fun, and it's really enjoy it. But when it comes to like writing music itself, the keyboard is like it's the ultimate instrument. It's like if you want to write music, keyboard is like the instrument to like go to, in my opinion as well. I'm also I can also play keyboard and piano as well, but not quite to the level of to Sean Charvet, not quite to his level, but I do enjoy like playing keyboards and pianos, but mainly with all whole like synthesizers and stuff like that. So yeah, it's kick ass.
Are there any other like instruments that you play that we don't know about?
I used to play I used to play in a brass band in school. I used to play like the trumpet and cornet, basically. But I think that was like my first instrument ever, basically. But fortunately at school, I had fantastic music teachers who like taught me like so much on theory, and then after finishing music, after finishing like actually school itself, I went on to music college, and then the teachers there like really like advanced my knowledge and like music theory and everything, and it really it all helped in the end, and it's just such a blast. It's just incredible. But
Okay, so that's all the questions I have. Finally, like, do you have any messages for your fans, any shout outs you want to give?
So first off, thank you very much to all the fans for all the continued support with Midnight City and Avalanche, and we cannot wait to show you Life of a Hero when the album is scheduled to release. Thank you guys so much for tuning into Down to Earth journalism. You guys are the best. Rock on. See you later.
Okay, let me just stop.